Pledge of Allegiance. First item of business is a public notice. An act and article land use ordinance by amending the provision that sets forth the limitation on extension or enlargement of the County Inn special exception use in community residential and marine districts. Legislation was adopted, and this bill in its entirety is on file at the Commissioner's office. We have the regular session minutes and the liquor minutes from April the 2nd. Approved. This is a recognized for his achievement in earning the North Division of the Bayside Conference Player of the Year. Jay-Sean averaged 29.6 points, 9.4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals a game. Sean Freeman and but weren't able to for tonight, but we will see that he gets this. Thank you. For budget presentation.
Oh, are those hard copies? Oh, okay.
It's an opportunity to present our budget, and thank you, President Mason. I know it looks like a thick packet. I promise I'm not going to spend an hour going through all this stuff. I just wanted you to have some information that you could refer to later if thing that you packet, you'll see all of the grant funding that, you know that is what we based our budget on. We looked at our priorities, and you'll see that with the position requesting. Our grant funding came from schools, the information in terms of our literacy grant and what it's helping us to do in our schools. The next slide is where I thought it would be important to provide you with a historical since 2008 through 2018. These are projections that are put together by the Maryland Department of Planning. Birth rate. So you'll see the trend shows you what the projections are for the next 10 years, taking you out to 2028. I think it's of particular to note all-time low in 2025 to 1,007 birth rate, and the amount of just looking at what the trends are, looking at what the predictions will be for the county moving forward. The next slide in terms of using our fund balance. I had planned on closing 2 schools. We kept the schools open, and in order to do that, we inserted $800,000 through fund balance, and so we took steps in FY 18 and 19 and FY 19 in terms of the expenditure and still be able to reduce our budget. Came to develop our budget, and what is our budget methodology? The first thing that we do, and I think we've done a very good job, particularly with the school district that's losing revenue due to declined enrollment, the goal is possible. So we looked for ways to reduce our budget. We also looked at what increases we had to account for, and I'll talk about that in the payment. The next slide, and what I mean by that is typically if you have a teacher that's retiring, they're usually the highest paid teachers, and you're probably going to replace them accounted for all of the proposed or the declared ways to move as many of our staffing positions into grants as possible. We looked at special education, any place that we could move any of our existing staff into grants, we did so that we could save additional in a savings of about $307. The first slide is really a combination of some things that we have to account for in this budget, and those are areas in which we also need to provide some opportunities for them to receive professionals and be better equipped to address students that come to school with trauma, and areas in which they need additional counseling, I believe it's needed. We also want to increase our recruitment, widen our range of support and seeking areas in which we need to be able to go to historical black colleges. So not only do we have to account for someone to stay overnight to be able to go to those colleges for the teacher fares, but we have to pay a fee, and we have a number of areas that are hard to fill. Non-public placement. These are students that are in special education and they require an intensive setting, where they have to have a more intensive. I think is particularly important about this. This is for 2 students, and these 2 students replace through DSS. So additionally, we're on the hook for paying for their students that live in our county. We also are asking for an increase in maintenance and building repairs of $100,000. Buildings are old. We are beginning to sustain a lot of failures with regard to our boilers. Recently, we had to replace boilers and repair them, and they're costly. So I think this year we've spent about $50,000 just on boiler repairs. So we think that it's about time that we added additional amount of money into our budget to support that. And in addition to that, we have field maintenance. That is our athletic field is going to have annual maintenance, and that's included in that amount as well. Vehicle lease. This is a request to replace 6 vehicles. One of the things that we recently found out is if we we initially requested you have to build the vehicles that you're requesting, and we selected Chevy vehicles, and we were told that if we select Ford, they will be cheaper, so we're switching over to Ford, and I think it'll result in a couple of $1,000s a year savings. So that is not accounted for, but we're doing what we can to save money there. Also have to increase our auditing amount of money that we set aside for auditing. This year we'll be undergoing 3 audits pretty much simultaneously. We have the end of the year financial audit that we have to do every year. Plus we have the state audits for all of for Title I, Title II, all of our monies that we receive from the state to support our programs. Those will be audited, and then we are undergoing a legislative audit. So it's going to be audit fun in Kent County this summer. So we have to have additional amount for that. We want to add an additional day for our new teachers. We bring in our new teachers early into the district so that we can acclimate them into the school system, provide them with training that they need to use PowerSchool, just to be fully apprised of all of the requirements that they have in their respective positions. So adding additional day will allow us some quality time with our teachers. The next slide talks about the new positions that we're requesting within this budget. And I'd like to spend a little time talking about why we feel this is an important need for our school system. The first are 3 content specialists. I would like to begin by noting that we are the only county in the state that does not have content specialists. Now, what are content specialists? We are in need of building up leadership in our schools to provide specific content expertise. You will note that particularly in Queen Anne's County, they have the content specialists assigned at the schools. So we're not asking for an individual content specialist at each school. We're asking for a content specialist at the district level so that they can go out and provide that support to each of the individual schools. So we're asking for a content specialist in English language arts, math, and science. The reason why we're asking for those particular content areas is because those are the tested areas that are included in the report card. And those are the areas in which MSDE is going to be requiring that we fully vet our curriculum, and we have to have individuals that can help us develop the model lessons, develop the curriculum, and develop assessments for the students in each of these content areas. The content specialists will also be able to provide additional help to our teachers. They can work with our teachers to effectively teach the content in the classroom. This is particularly important with new teachers that don't know the curriculum and for struggling teachers. So having the ability to have that expertise will be incredibly helpful to us. And as we look at the requirements of what we are expected to accomplish as a school system, it is important for us to be able to provide that support so that we can improve student achievement in all areas. So I would just like to stress that if we want to improve student achievement, then we need to invest in our schools to provide that level of support. Our IEP support and teachers specialists, again, this is not something new that is just going to be Kent County. If you look at all of our neighboring counties, they call them a variety of different things. In Queen Anne's County, they call them building specialists. In Caroline County, they call them building specialists. In other school systems, they call them IEP specialists. And what are those? What will those individuals do? Right now, our principals are fulfilling that role, and we have our special ed population is about 13% in Kent County. That's a high percentage, and if you look at the amount of IEPs that we have to schedule for those students, it's probably taking away about up to 2 days for the principals to serve as the IEP chair. And if we have IEP specialists at the school, then they will be able to conduct those meetings. They will be the mandatory team member. They will have to fully understand the IEP process. They will make sure that we are compliant and that we are sending the notices to the parents. We're coordinating all the reports. There is so much involved with IEP meetings that this would be a huge support to the schools by having someone who's solely responsible for that. There are also new requirements included in the Kerwin bill that is going to require that each school system identify a core group of individuals that will be trained. There's going to be intensive training this summer for IEP and 504. And that means that we're going to have a core group of people that are going to have to provide that level of support. We didn't particularly know that mandated training was going to come down the pike with the Kerwin bill, but it fits in very well because that will be part of that, and it will give us the capability of training a core group of people that can meet those mandates. And then the teacher specialists would be helpful to the principal. Again, if you look at neighboring counties and what they're able to do, our schools have doubled in size, the elementary schools, and that's where these supports will be placed, is in our elementary schools. It will provide the level of support for the principals to get into the classrooms, and if you're going to improve student achievement, you've got to be able to have someone who's going to go into the classroom and help the teacher become better equipped to teach the content. And right now, our principals are spending a lot of their time on managerial things that they have to do with the school, and they're not able to dedicate their time for student achievement. The IEP and teacher specialists can also help with the day-to-day management, student discipline, bus management, and then also it will help with teacher mentoring. We have a pretty robust teacher mentorship program, and if we can have this position, then we would look at not hiring outside people to come in and provide that mentorship. We can do it through the supports of these particular positions. The next request is for 5 10-month secretaries. We feel that, again, it's not just to man the security vestibules, although that is certainly a part of it. Again, our elementary schools have doubled in size. The volume of work has doubled. If you speak to any of our school secretaries, you think about the volume of calls that come in per day. They have to, one secretary in a school of close to 400 students, because Garnett has about 360 and Galena has about 350. You look at the volume of calls that are coming in, the fact that they are responsible for enrolling new students, they have to coordinate change schedules, they have to cover when the nurse is out, they are also the secretary for the guidance. They have to disenroll students when they are checking out. They have to complete all the accountability reports that are required for each individual school, and they also have to call substitutes, fill in when needed in the office. This is going to provide a high level of support for those schools, and again, it's going to be helpful as we move forward with the security vestibules, because we will be having a new a software package in that we will be processing all the visitors, which means we have to scan their government IDs into the system, and it will check to see if they have any outstanding warrants, any reasons why they shouldn't be in the school, and then it'll issue the visitor pass. So it's going to help us be safer when we have individuals coming into our schools, but it's also going to provide support to our elementary schools and also our middle and high school. Included in on this particular budget request is a placeholder for a 3% increase. I will note that the Kerwin bill was amended in the final days of the legislature, and it includes every employee that's paid on the teacher's salary schedule. That means all of the counselors, all the social workers, everyone who's paid on the teacher salary schedule is included in the 3%. And then there's increased fixed charges as well. That's $252,000 for fixed costs charges that we had to account for, increase in health care, increased pension, and FICA. So those are the requests that we have. And if you add it up into the next page, that shows you precisely what we are asking from the county. We are asking for a $1,599,000, basically call it $1.6 million. And you'll see where we've accounted for the $255,672 fund balance into this amount. I'm not going to go through the individual guts. I think you're very capable of looking at that, but I would just call your attention, and I'm going to go to the very end of the PowerPoint and highlight a couple of things for you. Let me see if I can find it. I thought it was important just briefly to provide you the language in the Kerwin bill that notes that any monies provided above maintenance of effort will be credited towards any increases in the funding formula in 2021. I know there's been some questions about whether that is just, does that just apply to teacher salaries, or does that apply for any increase? And I did receive confirmation from the Department of Legislative Services and also the bill sponsors that includes any increases in MOE from any county. And the reason why that's in there is because they're trying to encourage counties to it's more of a carrot versus a stick. In other words, if the carrot is out there and there's a opportunity to increase maintenance of efforts, some counties may not do that because they're worried about increases in the funding formula, but counties will be given credit for that. And then there's just quickly, just to let you know about accountability. I've talked about that in the position, so I'm not going to go through that. That's in there. And then you'll see the amount of money Kent County will be getting with regard to the Kerwin. We will be getting a total of $310,000 from the county, from the state, and most of that is categorical dollars. So I just wanted to note where those monies will go to. Special education, those of you that I know, Commissioner Jacob and President Mason were at the board meeting, and so was Mrs. Heller, when I first announced that we were going to get 247. In the 11th hour of the assembly, it was cut in half. $100 million was taken out of Kerwin, and it was put into school construction. So that reduced our allocation from $247 to $124,000. So that has not been included in the budget, but certainly it has to be dedicated towards special education. Struggling learners, again, that's categorical. It has to be specifically used to provide support for struggling learners. And then a mental health coordinator, you'll see every school system is getting the same amount. That is a new position. That was an unfunded mandate last year. Most school systems did not hire a mental health coordinator because there were no funds for that, and it passed later on, and people just didn't do that. So now this is the governor's request, and this is something that the governor wants every school system to put in place. This person will be specifically dedicated to improving school safety and addressing issues where perhaps you have a threat that is based at a school, then they would be going out to address and work with law enforcement in terms of addressing the threat. And there will be more details on what the requirements will be for this position, but everyone got the same amount. The teacher salary grant is if we provide the 3% to everyone on the teacher's average, 3% to everyone on the teacher's salary schedule, we will be eligible for $55,000 from the state, and that will allow us to improve beginning teacher salaries and any teacher with less than 5 years. So the goal with the Kerwin Commission, just to let you know, is to improve and to get the beginning teacher salaries up to $60,000. That's the goal. So that's why this grant is just going to be focused on the beginning teacher salaries. That's the whole goal of that. And that's about it. So there's that. I just wanted to note again about the education effort. There is a rolling 5-year, those of you that are not familiar with the education effort, I thought it might be important for particularly the new commissioners to understand that. The state collects how much is allocated to boards of ed annually to school systems. And the 5-year average is looked at, and if any county has not met the education effort, meaning they add up the amount above maintenance of effort for every county in the state, and they come up with an average. If a county does not meet that education effort, then there's automatically an increase that is assessed to the county. And the next page just shows you, I thought you might, I'm not going to go through that, but I thought it would be interesting for you to see what other counties have been doing over the years. You'll see that in this year, the average increase over MOE was about 2.8%. And you'll see, and I've taken it from 2014 all the way up to 2019. So the last bit of my presentation is what if KCPS is not fully funded. And you have before you 3 scenarios. The first of which is if KCPS is only awarded MOE, then you'll see the bottom line for us, we would need to cut 1.7 out of our budget. The hold harmless scenario is if you held us harmless in terms of we've lost about 68 students, if you maintained that and paid us for, the amount you would have if we would have been flat enrollment and hadn't lost any students, then we would still need to cut our budget by $1 million. And then you'll see what happens if we are fully funded. That's the last scenario. And the last slide is what is our reality. I wanted you to see where the majority of our budget is allocated towards. The majority of our budget is allocated towards salaries and fringe benefits, and you'll see that there's very little assigned in every other category. Contract services includes bus contractors, so that's a big portion of the contractor services. So the reality is if we have to reduce our budget, unfortunately it's probably going to have to come through personnel in some way, because we don't have a lot of dollars allocated other places. And then finally, just a reminder of all of the investments that, thank you to the commissioners, thank you for the county, because we've been able to do the following investments in our school system. A universal pre-K is a highlight for us. It's been one of our points of pride, and we get recognized about this all over the state. We do receive some funding for that, so that's really great. Fine arts programming has increased. Our CTE programs are thriving. We're expanding into apprenticeship programs with Dixon Valve, and they've been a great partner with the school system. We also have diverse athletic programs. We are a 1A school system, and we offer 24 sports programs. We offer just as much as a 5A, as the highest, the high schools with the highest enrollments. So we offer a lot of sports programs, and really it doesn't, overall it's a good investment, because we are a rural county and we can provide opportunities for our kids, keep them occupied and keep them busy. So we're excited about that. Computer literacy, we've expanded that. Coding is the new literacy, and we've got kids that are so interested in our hackerspace and our coding clubs. We've got kids building drones and flying drones, and it's amazing to see what our elementary students are doing and the skills that we are training them to take forward as they graduate from high school. So with that completes my presentation. I'm certainly willing to answer any questions that you might have. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
I don't know if we have any questions at this time. We probably will be drawing you back as we get more into the budget process with all of our various departments.
I tried to provide as much information as I thought you might need, but again, if you need anything at all, please give me a call. I'm happy to provide it to you.
Just want to make a comment, if I can, just to add on. In this process, really wanted to commend the staff and the administration for Kent County Public Schools. We had about 300 requests that we asked from the schools up as to, in their perfect world, what would the priorities be. And through that process, through some workshops and through our board meetings, really impressed with where we've gotten to this point. And I think we're just all very, very pleased with the product. So certainly, we'll be back whenever you would like to have us. It would be great to be here.
Thank you.
We now have Public Works. Marty?
Human Resources.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Request.
Yeah.
Public Works request.
Oh, yes, it is a request, yeah. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm here seeking approval to hire an individual as a motor equipment operator one at the salary listed. The vacancy was created with a recent resignation. On March 5th, 2019, you approved the hiring of an applicant for a previously advertised vacancy. The next individual in line for that position was recommended at that time, should the first choice not accept. The individual has a Class C license and many years of driving experience, and also with equipment. He's relocating to an area here in Kent County, and we're asking that because the vacancy was created within a reasonable amount of time since the last advertisement, that we go ahead and extend an offer of employment to this individual.
Make a motion to approve the hire.
I second it.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Great, thank you. And lastly, I'd like to just bring to your attention an award that we just received from Chesapeake Employers Insurance Company. They're the company that handles our workers' compensation. And Lee attended a ceremony, and the award is presented to the County Commissioners of Kent County in honor of its outstanding commitment to workplace safety as a Chesapeake Employers policyholder for 23 years and for maintaining a loss ratio of 22.08% or less for 23 consecutive terms. And that was awarded on March 28, 2019. I have a copy for everyone, and they also gave us a plaque. It can hang in Human Resources or in the hallway out here, wherever you deem appropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll leave that with you. Okay. Thank you.
Moving on, Shelley.
Okay, a few items for you this evening. I am going to start with a request from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, who is requesting that Kent County transfer its 2019 bond allocations to DHCD for implementation of housing programs and issues and issue mortgage credit certificates.
Make a motion to approve.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
The town of Betterton has been applying for several grants, and they're moving forward on a very exciting project that they're calling the Shoreline Stabilization Project. This has to do with a bluff that has been eroding away at quite an alarming rate. So they have received a pre-disaster mitigation grant from FEMA, and now they would like to apply for a MEMA, Maryland Emergency Management Association grant to pay for resiliency.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
As referenced earlier today by Santo Grande with Delmarva Community Services and also Delmarva Community Transit, they would like to apply for a grant, and they call it for JARC, which is Jobs Access Reverse Commute, which would provide greater access to jobs in their district. So they are requesting a letter of support.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Next, another request for a letter of support, this one for the Eastern Shore Heritage Incorporation, which is the managing entity for the Stories of the Chesapeake Heritage Area, is applying for a Maryland Heritage Areas Authority FY20 management grant, and as well, there's actually two small grants, and these are in support of continuing to provide technical and financial support to local museums for a variety of topics, to include promoting local festivals, etc.
Motion to approve.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Yet another letter of support for a grant, this one on behalf of Georgetown Yacht Basin. This is a small shipyard grant program. This is a new initiative by the United States Department of Transportation's Maritime Administration, and this grant, if awarded, would help modernize shipyard operations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
As you know, we have a Bay Bridge Monitoring Committee. 2 terms have expired. One of the members would be interested in serving again. The other would like to step off. So included in your packet tonight is a request for reappointment of the member that would like to stay on.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Okay, the Kent County Public Schools has requested approval of 6 leases for the fleet, which is the enterprise contract that Dr. Couch just mentioned. This was presented originally on 319. Our staff, our fleet manager, and the public works director have reviewed and find everything's in order and in accordance with our overarching lease.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
We have 2 vacancies on the Tourism Advisory Board before you. So request appointment of 2 members.
We'll make a motion to approve our appointment and the first. Heard that.
I second that.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
You done, Shelley?
Do you want me to intro the top one? You want to just...
Intro.
Okay. At last week's budget discussions, you had several requests before you from divisions, from the various department heads, requesting extremely small capital purchases. A lot of those purchases are in the $1,000 to $2,000 range and could be absorbed into this year's budget and fall off the budget request for next year if so inclined for approval.
So I make a motion to allow the directors to purchase the small capital items in FY20 budget request if their FY19 budget can absorb the expenditures.
Motion, I second that.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
You just read it around maintenance. I make a motion to move to award request for proposal number GM 19-02 for engineering consultant services for the preparation of a comprehensive site plan to construct new pre-engineered metal shop and storage buildings at 10932 Wharton Road, Wharton, Maryland 21678 to DMS and Associates LLC for the bid amount of $23,475, being the lowest responsive bidder, and to also sign the project contract.
I'll second that.
And just for clarification purposes, this was presented to you and discussed at the last meeting, and you deferred to this meeting.
Any other discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
Okay. I make a motion to move forward to award RFP number GM 19-01, the design and construction of pre-engineered metal shop facility storage building at the grounds maintenance facility at 10932 Wharton Road, Wharton, Maryland 21678 to Industrial Engineering Company, Inc. for the bid amount of $378,900, being the lowest responsive bid, and also sign the contract with $22,375 being transferred from the Nicholson Water Treatment Project.
I second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
I'd also like to motion move to approve $10,000 to be transferred from the Nicholson Water Treatment Project to expand to the parking area to the new building.
Second that.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
Okay, and I have one item just for a report out. There was a public meeting on April 4th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. at Chesapeake College with the 5 counties that are members of Chesapeake College: Dorchester, Talbot, Queen Anne's, Kent, and Caroline. The meeting was open to the public, and the purpose of the meeting was to primarily discuss the budget matters concerning the Chesapeake College's budget request, and the consensus of the 5 counties was to approve just under 3% increase that was requested, and as well move just over $200,000 out of their fund balance for IT security upgrades. I'm done.
Done? All right, it's now time for public comment, or media review. If you want to speak, I'd ask you to sign up in the back. We would like to keep comments to 3 minutes. And we don't, if at all possible, if someone else has said, we don't want to be redundant in everything we say. So at this time, the first person speaking would like come up front, mention your name and your address, and then you can speak. Jim Love.
Thank you, Commissioners. Jim Luff, Chestertown, Maryland. Basically, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things with the budget that's been presented tonight by the school board, in that part of the strategic plan for economic development that was devised in 2017, education is a foundation block. It's a linchpin to the efforts of what we need to do as far as trying to move Kent County forward. As an advisory board, all we can do is advise. We don't have fiduciary responsibility like you all do. But what we can do certainly is advocate and really try to help put together the parties that can solve any problems that we may have as far as the budget's concerned. One thing I'd like to share with you is that something that Commissioner Jacob and perhaps Shelley did too last spring or last June. We had Dr. John Anders from the Salisbury University School, Beacon School, who talked about the fact that in reality, public school systems are economic development. Not the potential to be, but in fact they are. And we must seize upon that. In his report, he showed that in 2013, there was over $71 million that came into Kent County from the standpoint of the school system, the people who are employed by the school system, the people who are subbed out to the school system, to the people who have kids in the school system who buy product, gasoline, electric, homes, everything amounted to $71 million, and that was in 2013, and that's going up since then. And in fact, they're in the process of upgrading that report, and we hope to have Dr. Anders back again as soon as that report's done, and certainly we'll make sure that you all get invited to that. Were you here, Shelley?
I was.
Okay, cool. But the idea here is that, as Dr. Couch pointed out, we're at a point where we can't really go higher without the ability to have the people who have the professional abilities to move this system forward, and that's where we are. If we want to be the best, we have to move forward. The funding is there. There's no penalty on that. This will be our best opportunity to make our schools not only number one in the shore, but in the state, but even more importantly, provide a superior education for the children of Kent County. And I'll finish with the fact that we're all ready to help you all. Please, if there's anything that needs to be addressed, reach out. Reach out to the Board of Education, reach out to the Economic Development Commission. We're vetting projects for you now. Include us. We're here to help you, and let's move this county forward. Thank you.
Next, we have Airlie Johnson.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name's Airlie Ringgold Johnson. I represent the Social Action Committee for Racial Justice. My comments are in reference to the budget that was presented this evening. It is imperative that more African American teachers are recruited and retained for the improvement of our entire school system. One of the most important goals of the Social Action Committee for Racial Justice is to decrease the academic achievement gap for all racial groups. This ties in with Dr. Couch's priority goal number 2 in hiring and having a highly effective and diverse workforce. It has been proven in many studies when there is diversity in teaching staffs, there is a positive impact on the student education experiences and outcomes for all students. Also, students of color demonstrate a greater academic achievement and increased social and emotional development in classes with teachers of color. There are significant long-term benefits for all students when there is a more diverse staff and administrators. As a reminder to you as the commissioners, when you were running for office in your current position, you were interviewed by the Social Action Committee for Racial Justice. The three of you committed to completing an Undoing Racism training. Our next seminar will be held in September. You will be informed of the exact date, and we look forward to you upholding your commitment to attend this training. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have David Foster.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm on the Town Council of Chestertown, and I happen to represent Ward 1, which curiously has the highest percentage of come-heres and retired people in our county. Now, you might think that that group wouldn't really particularly care about the county schools. None of them have children in the school system. Few of them have grandchildren. And yet every time I meet with them, people at Heron Point, throughout my ward, it's the second question they ask about. The first one, yes, is the hospital. But second most in their mind is what can we do for our county schools? And they're going to be very interested in the decisions that you make about the budget here. I've been pleased to have an opportunity to meet with all three of you, impressed with your dedication, and particularly with our two new county commissioners, your lengthy business experience, in-depth experience. And while I know you've only been on the commission for a relatively short time, I'm sure you already know that we have a number of wonderful faculty in our schools and a number of wonderful students. But if you've been watching, you also know that every year we lose our faculty. We lose our students. Many of the students we never even have an opportunity to get because their parents send them right away to the neighboring counties. Now, as a businessman, what would you think of other businessmen who chronically lose their best staff, who chronically lose their best customers because they fail chronically to provide competitive salaries with the neighboring county? Thank you.
Thanks, David. Thank you. Next, we have Francois Solomon.
Some casters on those chairs. I'm Francois Sullivan. I'm from Wharton. Good evening, President Mason, Commissioner Jacob, and Commissioner Fithian. My name is Francois Sullivan. I'm a small business owner in Kent County with 2 children at Galena Elementary School. I'm also a founding member of Support Our Schools, or SOS Advocacy Group. Every day, I see our principal, teachers, and staff go above and beyond for the students and families at my school. Gales has doubled in size since consolidation. More students, more parents, more paperwork, just more. We have one secretary in the front office to handle it all. When she is not there, our principal steps in to cover phones and front office duties. The day in the front office of an elementary school is nonstop, especially right now. Parents are in and out all day picking up sick kids. I had a call today at 11:30 to come and get mine. Once the security vestibules are installed and new visitor software is in place, it will be absolutely necessary to have someone else in the office to handle those duties. I invite you to come to our school so you can see for yourself the need for an additional secretary to man the new security vestibules, and support our front office staff. I will even personally drive you. I'm sure you're getting lots of advice and opinions on how to run our county. I'd like to ask you to consider how you plan to grow and shape a community and what you want your legacy to be. An investment in our schools is an investment in our entire community and the future of Kent County. I also have a few statements from some residents who were unable to attend this evening. From Linda and Philip Dutton, we are strongly in favor of the proposed budget plan. Focusing on both students' and teachers' basic needs is the best option for building the future of our school district. From Stephen Atkinson, when I first ran for county commissioner in 2010 and then again in 2014, one of the primary reasons was that I felt that our public schools were not getting the support that they needed. Since 2014, I have seen even more of a decline in that support, and it upsets me greatly. It has been said many times that a good school system is the county's best economic driver. Our system has done an incredible job these past years of keeping programs going, but I feel if something isn't done to help with the financial issues, that some programs that are very important may be forced to be cut or curtailed. The ones that are foremost to me are the arts, sports, and the CTE programs at the high school. Please do what needs to be done so that our public schools have what they need to move forward and continue to do their mission. Carla Masoni was unable to be here tonight, but she wanted me to share her support for the Board of Ed budget. And Tom McHugh offered to write a song, but I asked him to save it for the vote night, so we can all look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Robbie Bear.
Hello. My name is Robbie Bear. I'm a small business owner from Chestertown and a parent of 4 kids, 3 of whom are currently having a wonderful experience at Garnett Elementary, the other of which will start terrorizing our teachers in about 4 years. He was not invited tonight. My kids attend Garnett because I believe in our schools. I went to Garnett myself. I'm a proud graduate of KCHS. I started advocating for our schools during consolidation a few years back, and am a founding member of Support Our Schools. So it may surprise some of you to hear it, but I'm actually excited to be here tonight. With the new leadership that you, Mr. Mason, and you, Mr. Jacob, add to this bench, I'm feeling hopeful for the first time in a long time. Both of you campaigned and were elected by the voters of our county on platforms that prioritize the needs of our families and schools. Mr. Mason, in your interview with the Kent County News, you specifically highlighted the importance of ensuring adequate school funding. Mr. Jacob, you stated that the best way to bring more lifetime residents to Kent County was to focus on gaining families, and that these efforts must start with improving our school system. You smartly pointed out that families will live where the schools are good, but they'll commute to work. You have to have a top-notch school system. Hearing these words from County, the weight of your position behind prioritizing schools is setting us on that path towards becoming the top-notch school system that we all agree is best for our county. Dr. Couch has requested addition abilities, of which there are many, and a curriculum specialist. Beyond that, she's asking for modest raises for our hardworking and frankly still underpaid teachers. Each of these budget requests is crucial for moving forward, and each will help accelerate the gradual upward trajectory that we've been seeing in our schools. This funding, strategic, well-considered, and absolutely essential, will translate to better results and a school system that will be attractive to new and current families and the businesses that they run and support, fulfilling the vision you both had of an economic development plan with excellent public education as its driver. In the course of working with SOS and advocating for our schools, I have met with many community leaders and organizations who want nothing more than to see our schools succeed, and who have put considerable time and effort into figuring out ways to make a positive impact on this front. Many of them are here today to show their support, for which I am grateful. Many of them make regular contributions to our school to fill in the gaps that our currently inadequate budget funding has left. Many of them have given their time and energy and expertise to make life easier for our teachers and to support a better educational environment for our kids. When I've stood up here in the past, I've talked about how our schools' needs must be met with an influx of capital, and that is true. Our district needs money to solve some of the most pressing problems, and that's why this school budget is so important. It's also why SOS would like to reiterate our request for a county-wide efficiency study to look for inefficiencies and redundancies in our operations at the county level. For more than a decade, the reason given for continually downsizing the school budget was that there was no money to spare, while little effort was made to look at FAD in the county budget, and additional funding was directed to cover inefficient management in other areas. An efficiency study would help find that FAD. Not to mention that this year the county is reporting an increase in revenue for the first time, congratulations, $1.5 million that could ostensibly be put toward giving our teachers raises so they don't have to work quite as many hours at a second job to make ends meet, so that they can choose to live in Chestertown and support our local businesses, so that they can come to work each day with the pride they deserve to feel as our county's most crucial public servants. That capital can be found. We believe that you have the imagination and the will to find it. And while we definitely need capital to pay for raises and the new staffing positions Dr. Couch has requested, we must also be careful not to squander all of the human capital that we currently have at our disposal. All of the people in the county who put their hearts into our schools, our teachers, our staff, and all of our contributing community members, many of whom are here today. We are at an exciting moment. We are all looking to you, the new guys who are in charge, the people we elected, because we believed in the vision you outlined as candidates. We appreciate your pledge to stop treating our schools as an expense and to start treating them as an investment in our kids' future, in our community's future, and in our future. The future of this county has extraordinary potential. You have seen it. You have talked about it. You campaigned on it. And you're here tonight as the leaders we elected to make it a reality. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the hope that you represent. I look forward to being your ally in doing all that we can for our students, our families, and our community. Thank you, and I apologize for going over time.
Thank you. Next, we have Elizabeth Crawford.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Prophet. I advocate alongside of SOS to support our schools. I'm a mother of 3 children, all who attend Garnett Elementary. I have one child with a disability of autism who has an IUP, an individual education plan, and also another child who receives speech services. I'm definitely not new to our special education department. Our special education department needs the increase of specialists who are knowledgeable in special education. They can provide leadership for our IEP teams in the identification, implementation, and the evaluation process for our students who are receiving special education services. The specialists can provide leadership in measuring and monitoring our students' progress towards goals and support schools in building to meet the needs of all learners, while ensuring that all the initiatives support the system-wide goals. They can assist in identifying appropriate academics and behavioral supports in order to educate students in our least restrictive environment. They provide leadership to our already overworked administrators in organizing and scheduling instruction for students with disabilities to increase student achievement. We want our children in special education department to reach their full potential, and with this support, it would increase services so we can offer all struggling students in King County Public Schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Rebecca Hines Smith.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Harris Smith. I'm a resident of Millington, Maryland. I'm a mom of 2 kids, a small business owner, and a wife of a retired Master Sergeant Piers Harris Smith, the U.S. Air Force. We own a really historic property in Millington built in 1830, and the investment, just getting that property structurally sound, means that we are here for the long haul. And I am here submitting my formal request that you fully fund the requested budget for KCPS, or we risk losing critical programming and staff. We cannot continue to keep making cuts and making do if we are going to be competitive and attract new families to live in Kent County. I come from a banking background, so I'd like to provide a view from a financial perspective. The state has offered to kick in 1% if the county will provide 3% for teacher raises. To not provide that amount is leaving money on the table. Where else are you going to get a 33% return on your investment? It is fiscally irresponsible to let that kind of investment slip through our fingers. And my fear is that we will continue to lose good teachers and staff if we don't show them we support Kent County Public Schools. 2 of you campaigned on the promise of supporting our schools, and I am looking forward to seeing you keep that promise when you go to vote to support this budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Williams.
Tracy Williams.
Hi, Tracy Williams. I live in Wharton, and I'm actually coming tonight. I really didn't even plan to speak, but I thought, I think I can offer something tonight. So, just to give you a little bit of background, I have been in education for 28 years, 20 of which have been in Kent County. And so I've had the opportunity really here in the county to rise from classroom teacher to CTE director to assistant principal to now supervisor position. So I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of the inner workings of a complex organization called a school district. So, but one of the things I really feel like I can talk about is that little piece of the puzzle Dr. Couch was mentioning with the content and the instruction. So when we talk about content specialists, here's why I think it's really important that we pay attention to that piece of the puzzle. And so prior to my coming here, I had the opportunity to teach in Cecil County and Queen Anne's County. And one of the things that really helped me as a teacher to become better at my craft was to have people who were supervisors in that content. So, for example, math, science, English, social studies. Now, I can tell you, I can go in any classroom and I can observe it, and I can tell you whether it was a good lesson or not by the pieces and the parts. But let's say I am charged with going into a physics classroom or a chemistry classroom or engineering or automotive. I can tell you whether it was a well-run lesson. I can tell you whether I think kids were learning, but I can't tell you whether kids were learning at the level or being taught at the rigorous level they should have been. I just don't have that expertise in all of those areas. So when we talk about putting, when we start about going small, really, with like a math, science, and an English content person, those are the areas in which we're tested, and those are the areas in which the community really, they judge your school system by your test scores. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I think there's a lot more to a school system than test scores, but certainly that is a critical piece of the puzzle, and we should be held accountable for it. But what I'm going to tell you is I honestly don't think we're going to get any better, and I really think as times become more and more accountable for educators, I would argue that you're going to see those test scores either stay flat or, quite frankly, probably drop off because I don't have the expertise. Gina doesn't have the expertise in every content area to go in and help our teachers be better at the content that they're teaching. Does that make sense? I know I'm rambling a little bit because I didn't write any of it down. But that's a piece where I really think our teachers deserve it, our kids deserve it, and our community deserves to be proud of our school system. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak? If not, I'd like to have the commissioners thank everyone. I'd like to thank Dr. Couch for presenting her budget, and also everyone that spoke. And we're certainly going to do the very best we can to move Kent County forward.
Make a motion to adjourn. I don't know, this is press have any questions?
Does the press have any questions?
Then I will second that.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.